San Francisco Giants season was a very disappointing one, especially considering what the Giants do in even years. Going into the season, the Giants had two things, a very large payroll and lots of injuries. During the offseason, the Giants made moves, which obviously increased their payroll. They went out and got Evan Longoria, and they went out and got Andrew McCutchen. These moves were obviously supposed to fill the holes in the roster, fill the hole at third base and, somewhat try to solve the hole we've had in the outfield the last couple of seasons. But then the injuries began to pile up. The biggest one probably being Madison Bumgarner, with a couple of games to go in the spring training. He gets hit by a line drive in the hand, and that didn't have had to miss the beginning of the season. Then Jeff Samardzija went down, and it was only Johnny Cueto left and a couple of young unproven pitchers and Derek Holland to kind of fill the rotation. Um, but the Giants, they weren't terrible to start the season. I mean, they weren't good, but they weren't terrible. Um, uh, uh, you know, um, the biggest reason they probably weren't at their best was because of their injuries. It seemed like every time something good got going, somebody went down. Brandon Belt, he's starting to get hot, bam, goes down. Brandon Crawford, he starts to get hot, bam, goes down. And then Crawford and Belt don't really get back into that form later on in the season. Then Johnny Cueto, who was having a great season. Who knows? Maybe he could have competed for the Cy Young Award alongside Max Scherzer and uh, uh, DeGrom. Um, you know, but on injuries. And then Samardzija, attempted to come back, but just ended up having an ERA in the sixes. And it was just like, you know what, shut him down, and back to the deal he went. And then Buster Posey, was having a decent season, made the All-Star team, but couldn't go to the All-Star game because he had a hip injury and just left and right injuries. Because of the injuries, um, a lot of the Giants, younger players and other guys had to step up. And some of them did, like Derek Rodriguez had a great season. With the exception of the last start he had against the Dodgers, but no one had a good series against the Dodgers. At the end, Andrew Suarez was another young pitcher who stepped up, but obviously didn't have a good series against the Dodgers. Um, Alan Hansen, when he had to go fill in and play at second base whenever Joe Panic went down, or if he had to go play wherever, I mean, he stepped up and he played well. And Gorkis Hernandez. Everybody hated this guy in 2017. Didn't have a single home run. Had like 17 or 15, or he had a nice number of home runs this season. Steven Duggar was having a great season, but then obviously he got hurt because that was the story for the Giants this season. Um, because the Giants, had some of these guys step up, and because they weren't, terrible, they actually had a chance. They were able to keep it together. But they decided that they weren't going to make any moves at the deadline to try to, have a better shot of things, mainly because they wanted to not go over the salary tax, which is fine. They didn't trade anybody, they didn't acquire anybody, it was fine. Then the month of August rolled in, and it all fell apart. Because of the way they played in August, they ended up trading Andrew McCutchen, and then they would go on an 11-game losing streak that happened to end off August and ended around the beginning to the middle of September. Um, and with that 11-game losing streak, it ended any chances the Giants had of making the playoffs. But the Giants, at the end, they still had something to play for. They could eliminate the Dodgers from playoff contention, right? We hate the Dodgers, right? Right? No, we ended up getting swept by the Dodgers. Um, you know, Hunter Pence might have played his last game as a Giant. Who knows? Um, but that was the season for the San Francisco Giants. Very, very disappointing. I don't want to say I expected a bit more. I mean, this doesn't surprise me considering, the injuries and stuff. But I mean, this team on paper I think was better than what they actually played at times, especially in the end. But I mean that the team at the end was totally unrecognizable to the team we had on paper to start this season. Um, so now going into the offseason, we're going to look for a new general manager as Bobby Evans was fired. Uh, you know, it's interesting to see what they do, or the Giants begin to rebuild, or are they going to keep trying to build on? Is Bruce Bochy coming back? There's questions around that. He is expected to return. What are they going to do? That's uh, that's going to be injury. That's going to be interesting. And now I'm gonna decide to give out some awards. Team MVP I think should go to, um, I don't know, Derek Rodriguez because he did great. Rookie of the Year on our team, Derek Rodriguez. Hey, Derek Rodriguez could win Rookie of the Year in real life, but there are a lot of good other rookies out there. But yeah, that's the only real awards. I mean, I don't know what else could you give. I don't know. Um, Anyway, that was the season for the Giants. Hopefully, we can bounce back next season. I don't have to, you know, and we're not eliminated, with 1 week to go still in the season. Yep, that is the Giants' 2018 season.